What's up, guys? Welcome back. Puma. Today we're going to bring you another video in my series, The Best Weapons in Warzone. Today we're going to look at something that's definitely not meta, not something that's used commonly. We're still on ARs, and today's AR is going to be the FR556, or the FAMAS, as some of you may know it. FR, I believe, stands for FAMAS rifle, but either way, the FR556, as it's known in the game. This is one of only two ARs that are not fully automatic. So the FAL, which we've done already, I'll post a link to that one in the description. But the FR556 is a 3-round burst rifle. So I'm going to show you the best way to set it up if this is your go-to gun, why you might want to use it. We'll talk about that throughout, and at the end, what some of the pros are, what some of the cons are. So let's hop right in and we'll take a look. So the first thing we're going to look at is the stock FR556. We want to get an idea of what the recoil is like before we add any attachments. Being a 3-round burst rifle, we're going to look at a couple different things. Let's first just look at the 3-round bursts themselves. So they're pretty tight. It's only 3 shots. I mean, that's kind of what you would expect. But that's kind of where we land. Now let's see if we try to fire this more in a fully automatic sense, what we end up with. So that's going as fast as we can. You can actually spam your mouse button or your trigger faster than the gun will fire. But we've got a pretty tight spread. And that's no correction on recoil on my part. That's just kind of letting it rip. The 3-round bursts themselves, the gun will only fire. You can't fire fast enough to where you're going to really add on the recoil like vertically. So the gun sort of by itself counteracts some of this just with how quickly you can fire those bursts. All right, so the first loadout or set of attachments we're going to look at are the 3 that we use most commonly. The long barrel, which has damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. The FR 24.4-inch sniper. We have the monolithic suppressor, and we have the commando foregrip. So we're going to look at the recoil again and sort of see how this changes. You can see the bursts themselves are much tighter. Less spread, less recoil. Now let's try to go kind of fully automatic to the best of our ability. All right, so there you have it. It's a super tight burst. There's actually not going to be hardly any recoil that we can counteract because the gun does that by itself, which is one of the nice things. If you're not good at counteracting recoil on guns, this might be one worth trying out. But you can see with these attachments, we've got a pretty tight spread with the individual 3-round bursts as well as the full mag. And that's no counteraction on the recoil on my part. All right, so next we're going to look at a different setup for this. Instead of the commando foregrip, we're going to look at the Merc foregrip. The Merc foregrip gives you a hipfire accuracy boost, which is not really why we're using it, more so because of the recoil control, which is going to help out more with the vertical component of recoil, whereas the commando foregrip gives you the recoil stabilization, which helps you more with the left to right natural recoil. My guess here is that we're not going to see a huge difference on this gun one way or another because there's not an enormous amount of recoil to begin with. It's a 3-round burst, but let's give it a shot. First with the 3-round bursts, and then we're going to look at sort of emptying out the mag as quick as we can. All right, so again, there's our bursts. Not a whole lot of difference. There's our full mag. Now the full mag, I will say, maybe looks a little bit better than the commando. Not 100%. We'll test this a little bit more at greater distance. But again, the nice thing about this 556, this FR556, is because it's burst, You can basically spam the trigger as much as you want. You can try to fire it as fast as you can. The natural sort of fire rate of the bursts themselves are going to stabilize or are going to reduce a lot of the recoil that you have. All right, so here is our sort of live real world demonstration to get a better idea of how these guns are going to match up. The first loadout that we're going to start with is our monolithic suppressor, long barrel, and Merc foregrip. Those are the three that I basically always recommend, or you know, sort of sometimes the commando foregrip, but you pretty much always want the long barrel, the monolithic suppressor, and then some sort of underbarrel. Usually it's the Merc or the commando. I went ahead for this one and added a VLK 3x optic, which has a hidden 10% reduction in both vertical and horizontal recoil that it doesn't actually tell you about, but it's there. And the TAC laser. This is probably how I would build it out. Given that there's going to be less recoil and sort of greater accuracy, I think you're fine with a little bit more powerful optic as opposed to like a GI reflex. The TAC laser will help with the ADS speed primarily. Sometimes I would use like a 50 round or a 60 round mag, but given the fact that we're probably going to hit more of our shots, I'm not sure that that's going to be quite as necessary for this gun. So you might tweak this a little bit. And if you do, comment below and let me know kind of what your loadout looks like. But for this one, for mine, this is what we went with. So let's take a look at, we have two targets, about 30 or 40 yards here, and then about 100 or 120 yards back here. So we're going to see sort of as quick as we can. We're going to try to empty a mag and sort of see what we end up with. So I don't know if you saw that there, but we did get what appeared to be a little bit of a cumulative recoil as we emptied out. So maybe there is some recoil counteraction that you're going to have to do. But for the most part, the shots landed throughout the clip kind of where we started. Let's look at the longer range now. Now, we're not going to be able to see the bullet impacts from our long target. They don't render, but we'll be able to take a look at these. Now you can see I was aiming dead center. So part of what's going to help on this gun is, since it's a 3-round burst, if this was my headshot, maybe the last bullet doesn't connect. So you're going to want to aim probably a little bit lower. If that's your headshot, then maybe you're aiming for like upper torso, chest area to make sure all 3 rounds connect. But you can see we end up with a pretty tight spread. It wasn't bad. The long distance was not bad either. You're going to land a lot of those shots. Probably didn't perform as well as the FAL. I'm not sure how I would feel about this gun at range, hitting shots, but it's definitely doable. And next up, we've got the same loadout basically as we just went over: TAC laser, VLK 3x optic, mono suppressor, the long barrel. This time we're going to add the commando foregrip, which is helping more with the left to right stabilization of recoil than the vertical. Again, on this gun, I don't know that you're going to notice any difference really at all, but we're going to check it out. Same targets are set up. Let's see what we got. All right, so our close target, I actually felt a lot better about that one. A little bit better. I felt a little bit better. A medium amount better. I could tell the difference in sort of less left to right spread. I also went ahead knowing that some of these that the 3-round burst is going to rise naturally. I went ahead and aimed a little bit lower. And so I think I hit more of these center mass shots. On the long distance shot, I'm just not sure how I feel about that. In fact, I may show you that one again, but it just runs way more than I want, and I'm not sure how much of that recoil you can try to counteract. But let me just show you this one again. I mean, even if I really try, to counteract some of that recoil. I'm just not sure how I feel about range. Here's my close target. So not bad. Again, this could be a really effective gun to use medium range like this one is set up. I don't feel comfortable about long range on this gun at all. In fact, of all the guns I've tested, I would say this is maybe my least favorite for the long range target. And we've tested all of them at sort of medium and long range like this. All right, so I wanted to do one more test or simulation to sort of explore this gun a little bit more. And this time what I'm going to do is fire the gun at a slower pace, but I'm going to try to counteract each individual run of the 3-round burst. So we're going to be putting less bullets downfield in the same time, but hopefully we're going to be landing more of those bullets. I'll show you what I mean here. So it's definitely effective. Now, I'm not going to be able to see bullet impacts from this distance. Yeah. Let's go take a look here. Considering the distance, now this is farther. This is about 60 yards. So this is like a good in-between from what I was shooting earlier. And I hit basically all of the bullets for the most part. One got away right there. But basically all of them hit where I wanted them to hit. So the idea is to counteract each time you fire slower. The thing I don't like about that is that's a much harder, I think for a lot of people, that's a much harder approach than just hold it fully automatically firing a gun and just counteracting it the whole time. But again, if you want to use this, one of the things you can look at is instead of just letting those bullets run, you see the difference? That's no recoil control versus trying to center all those. So it takes a lot more, it just takes more work. I mean, that just takes a lot more thought each time you pull the trigger, which is why I'm not a fan of it, maybe as much as some of the other ARs. All right, guys, thanks for checking out the video today. Some quick thoughts, feedback. Honestly, if you were to say, and this is one of the reasons I do these videos, if you were to say, well, Puma, what's the like under the radar gun that no one knows about? I would definitely not tell you that this is that gun. The pros are that the recoil is very manageable. The gun itself sort of manages its own recoil. You're putting 3 rounds downfield at a time, as opposed to like the FAL, which is single fire. So in that aspect, it's good. The accuracy is pretty good. Even at range, you know, I think you can sort of find a way to land those shots. You're just really going to have to adjust your game. It's not for everyone, but for some people, I think it can be a really effective gun. The downside is that I feel like it's going to take you longer to put people down, especially in Warzone. Now, in the process of making this video, I did unlock the gold skin for this gun, which means I just used it a bunch in a bunch of different ways. And even in multiplayer where your damage to kill someone is less than it is in Warzone, there are times where it feels like you're just getting outshot by people, even when you feel like you're landing all those shots. So in Warzone, where you have, you know, armor, you have more damage to sort of absorb, I feel like this is going to be a more difficult gun to be effective and to use very effectively, but it might be worth a shot for you. What I want you guys to do is, if you have experience with this gun, if you've got a loadout that you use, if you have a different way that you use this gun that you feel like is really effective, drop it in the comments below. There may be some people out there that use it as a sort of hip fire, close quarters, building clearing type of gun. Maybe you like to set it up to use it for more long range, mount it, sort of use it as a sniper. Be sure to let me know. I'm always curious to see sort of how you guys are using these guns as well. As always, guys, about 15% of the views on my YouTube channel are coming from subscribers. So feel free to hit the subscribe button below. It's free of charge, and I always appreciate it. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Obviously, feel free to follow me on my socials. I post stuff there as well. And I'm always streaming on Facebook at fb.gg/armoredpuma17.
you.